I'm Leslie from ScottFit. Diane and I run ScottFit as a fun and fitness community classes within our local community within Fife. Trigger point Pilates is what we're going to be doing a session of today. And the idea for Trigger point Pilates is to try and release your body, get your range of motion back. It's ideal for people who are stuck in certain areas of their body, have issues with their body, that they can't move their body in such a way that it's comfortable for them. It will work on their deep core muscles for postural stability and will give them some confidence back about themselves, I'm sure. The people who come to our classes normally have issues, whether they're in chronic pain or have fibromyalgia, have issues with their knees, their back, their shoulders, and all of them have said that throughout, after about 6 to 8 weeks, it will start to help their body to get their range of motion back. As with any fitness class that we're doing, just listen to your body, make sure that you don't push past any points of pain. Ensure that you are okay to do these exercises. You may need to consult a doctor beforehand. Otherwise, what props we're going to have today? We have a 4-inch roller. We have some stimulating trigger balls, and this is for myofascial release, which deals with massaging into our connective tissues. We have a bender ball, which we use to help balance on, to work the deeper core muscles and also to stretch out our thoracic spine. And we also have a resistance band, which helps us to control our movements within our exercises today. But of course, if you don't have these props at home, you could use a belt instead of the band, and you don't need to have these, all of these, but you could use tennis balls instead of these stimulating balls, although they are a bit harder and might be a bit more sore. And you do not have to have a roller to start off with, but for this session, as in my classes, I generally do. But be sure that your back is okay to lie on one of these. So starting off the class today, we allow ourselves to come on top of our rollers, which is always the fun bit, because most people are not sure how long their body is. So we take our time to protect our back by rolling down onto it, sinking our spine all the way along the roller, and ensure that your head is on the roller too. So you're lying flat with your knees underneath your ankles underneath your knees. Contract through the belly so you extend the spine along the roller and your chin is tucked in, arms by your side. Try to relax into the shoulders. And then we're going to do some pelvic curls. So with a deep in-breath, pull the belly in and draw that tailbone in between your legs and contract in the inner thighs, releasing into that lumbar spine. And release it out. Let your spine naturally curl. Let your shoulders relax down. Chin is still tucked in. We'll continue with a few more of those pelvic curls. Pressing gently through the heels, contracting through the belly, drawing that tailbone in between the thighs and releasing again. Couple more. And the idea throughout the exercises here is try to breathe out when you're releasing. Otherwise, if you're holding your breath through these exercises, your muscles contract and don't allow your tissues, your joints to release and get back that range of motion. All the while we're laying on this roller, your spine is realigning. Each of the vertebrae are trying to come into line within the spine, helping us to have a better posture. So one more of those pelvic curls. Chin still tucked in. And from the pelvic curl, we're going to come into a pelvic bridge. So do your pelvic curl, belly pulled in, chin tucked in. Press through the heels and lift the hips up. Shoulders relaxed, looking down your chest. Inner thighs engage. And slowly peel your back onto the roller or onto the floor. And repeat, pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. The deeper core muscles are contracting, your hip flexors are working hard, that postural stability. We're going to do one more pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. Breathing out. Lifting up and releasing down. And from here, we'll do some gentle arm movements. Whether you're on the floor or the roller, the belly will be contracted, chin tucked in, hands come up to ceiling. And draw the shoulder blades down. As you breathe out, let the arms come above. Let your chest expand, your back release. And come up and over to your pelvic curl. Arms to hips, pressing through the heels. And continue. Nice release of the thoracic chest, the lumbar spine, curling, the belly releasing. Once more. Shoulders are releasing, chest expanding. And from here we do the last one. But as we draw the arms around, we bring them round and down and contract up through the belly. So pull the belly in, chin tucks in, we lift up, look in between the legs and release. Let the back arch, let the chest expand and contract. Last one. And then reverse it. So arms swing out and back, head releases, chest expands, belly, and then contract. Chin tucks in, lift up. And reverse. 2 more of those. Last one. Slowly peel onto your roller, contract through the belly, chin tucked in, arms wide. Do small little circles, releasing those shoulder joints. And then hug yourself. Give yourself that release through the back of the shoulder joints. Open wide, let the chest expand. Belly still contracted, supporting yourself. And hug the other way. Open wide and bring your arms one above, one below. Palm up, facing up. Palm down by your hip and alternate. Still contract through the belly, releasing through those shoulder joints, the elbows and the wrists. Rotation through all of those joints. Supporting yourself through that deep core muscles. Hands back down by your sides. And just relax here, belly pulls in again. Do some gentle knee lifts, foot higher than the knee. Keeping that belly pulled in. Arms relaxed by your side, chin tucked in. See how your lumbar spine feels here, that lower back. No sharp shooting pains, hopefully, no pins and needles, just that gentle release through that back fascia, connective tissue. From here, we continue to alternate, but we add in a leg extension. So we do that knee lift, a leg extension, toe pointed. Keeping your belly pulled in, lower that straight leg to the floor and draw it in. And alternate, still continue to pull the belly in, leg extension, lower. Breathe out. Let the hip flex at the front of the hip. Release. Continue to alternate. Seeing how it feels each time you do it, controlled. Breathing out with that movement. Keep your chin tucked in. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Spine still coming into alignment. On the floor or on the roller. One more. And then we're going to add in the opposite arm. So this incorporates our spiral fascia line from our hip to our opposite shoulder. So leg in the air, opposite arm. Belly contracted, lower both away. Shoulder to opposite hip is releasing. Draw the arm round and down and foot back up, and again, continue to alternate. You should feel it when you release your leg and arm away from each other, from that shoulder to the opposite hip, that spiral line of your fascia, connective tissue. Do 2 more on each side. Remember to control it. Keep your navel pulled in, chin tucked in. For those who are on a roller, you'll be working at those deeper core muscles because you're working 360 degrees. But nevertheless, if you're on the floor, you're still working hard at contracting through the navel, pulling the belly into the back of the spine. Last one. And releasing, coming back to that center point. From here, you're going to come off the roller if you're on the roller. Hips first, shoulders second, and take that away. Relax onto the floor in that knee raised position, half supine. Ankles underneath knees, chin tucked in, belly pulled in. We do that pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. So gently press through the heels, lift those hips up, look down your chest. Fingers reaching to your heels, inner thighs engaged. Slowly peel your back onto the floor like a piece of Velcro. Once you're fully laid down, extend one leg out along the floor and the opposite arm above your head, reaching, pointing, releasing. Draw the arm round and down and foot back up. Pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. Lifting up. Still those inner thighs, still looking down your chest. Slowly peel down. Give yourself that time to really feel that movement coming back onto the floor. Opposite arm and leg, reaching, pointing, releasing. And from here, do another pelvic curl to pelvic bridge, and you're going to need a bendable, or you could have some books underneath, or a block if you don't have a ball. So gently pelvic curl to pelvic bridge, placing that ball underneath all the blocks, underneath that lumbar spine, underneath the sacrum, and lower onto it gently. From here, just wiggle your hips from side to side. Find that center point. Make sure it's not in the arch of your back. It is lower than that, on that fused part of your spine. Keep your chin tucked in, hands pulled in, and contract through the belly. From here, we're going to do some gentle knee lifts and lumbar release. So knee into chest, hand underneath your thigh. Gently release that lumbar spine, only pulling very gently. See how it feels. And release onto the floor. Still contract through the belly. And repeat on the other side. So this is the nice release into that lower back, into your glutes, and releasing. And if you can't reach your hands, you could place a belt underneath your thigh, just gently pulling in, just wrapping it around. And continue. Keep that navel pulled in. Each time you do it, you might feel that release a little bit deeper, a little bit longer through the back. Protecting your back by keeping the belly pulled in. And again. Last one, just with the lumbar release. And like we did on the roller or earlier, we're going to add that leg extension. So lumbar release first. Leg extension to pointed toe, lower that foot down. Let the back arch now, natural movement. Let your chest expand. Release down the front plane of the body. Contract the belly, pull the foot back in, and repeat on the other side. So lumbar release, leg extension. Lower the leg, let your belly release, let your back arch, natural movement of the back. Hip flexor release, and pull back in. Again, alternating. You could do as many of these as you wish if it feels good and you're feeling that release. If you don't like having anything underneath, you could still do this on the floor. Always listen to your body. Make sure It's not screaming at you saying there's a sharp shooting pain in there. If there is, take that prop from underneath you. Continue with doing this on the floor. You'll still get the benefits. We're just working our core 360 degrees now by being raised, having to balance on this ball. Last one with just this lumbar release, leg extension. And again, like we did earlier, we're going to do that opposite arm. Coming back to that spiral line, so knee pulled in. Leg extension, opposite arm. Lower away from one another. Let the back arch really feel that stretch now. And draw the arm back down. Draw the belly in, foot back up. Releasing slightly more now. Body's getting a bigger range of motion through the back. Thoracic chest is releasing. Hip flexors. Gently pulling back down. A couple more on each side. And again, choosing how many of these you do. For the purposes of videos, 3 is a magic number today. So now not only are we doing that back extension, back flexion, the arch and the back bend, but we're releasing into the front of the body, letting our body stretch out through the front. Through our natural lives now, we sit too long. Our posture isn't great, we're hunched over too much. So this is a great way of releasing it, stretching and releasing out. Come back to center. Gently draw one knee in and other. Hands underneath thighs and gently hug in. Release that lower spine. Take your time to breathe here. And then bringing those knees up above your hips, shins parallel to the floor, hands either side, chin tucked in, pull that belly in. Here's some core work for us to help support our lower back. So gently touch one toe to the floor, keeping the other leg straight, now 90 degree, and draw it back up. And repeat on the other side. Simple toe drops, but it works this lower core. It helps deepen that stability in your pelvis. Breathing out. Take your time. There is no rush here. I want you to feel the benefits. Feel that pulling of the lower core here. Still continuing with those single toe drops. So we do about 8 each side. Breathe out. Anytime you want to take a rest, either drop the toes, the feet to the floor, or draw your knees into your chest. Giving yourself the opportunity to restart. Always ensuring the belly's pulled in, chin tucked in, shoulders connected to the floor. Once you've done about 8 each side, draw the knees in, give yourself a hug, release, let yourself breathe. And again, come back to that 90-degree angle. Knees above hips, shins parallel. From here, you're going to bring one leg up to the ceiling and lower the foot just about hip level. Contraction through the belly. And then bring the foot up to about the same height as the foot and lower. Long leg extension. It makes your hip flexor work hard to support your posture. Pulling firmly through the core. And again, about 8 on each side. And we want to overload the muscle here, so we're only doing one side now. We want to work it hard, let you feel that contraction through the low core, through that hip flexor, through the thigh. Calf is working as well. Keep breathing. When you finish, bring the knee back and do the other side. So start from high, lower to that hip height, and then lift to the foot and lower. So 8 on this side, belly firmly contracted, shoulders connected, chin tucked in. You'll start to feel it a little bit higher as coming up. Not only working the low core, much coming higher now. You might start to feel it in the upper core as well, with that full contraction through the belly. And again, you don't have to do it with any props underneath you if you don't wish. When you finish, knees to chest, give yourself that hug. And then knees parallel, and then toes up to the air. Last of our core work here today. So we're going to do a scissor motion. So the legs are going to go in opposite directions. Still pull that core in, shoulders tucked in, chin tucked in. One foot comes towards your head, the other foot lowers down towards the floor. No lower than hip height. And alternate. Breathe out. Belly contracted. It doesn't matter how low the feet, you might just get to 45-degree angle or lower. Wherever you get is fine. Remember, that's not competition. You might feel cracks and pops in the hips. You might feel clicky hips. That's okay. Still work at strengthening your core now. Two more. Make sure you do same amount on each leg. Knee hugs. Give yourself that chance to release into those hip flexors which you're working hard at. Postural stability. Tendons. One foot to floor and the other. From here we're going to do a pelvic curl to pelvic bridge again. So slowly heels underneath knees. Chin tucks in. Belly pulled in. Press through the heels. Tailbone in between the legs, lift up and take that ball away. Slowly curl down. Once you're fully down, all the way to the floor, extend one leg along the floor, opposite arm, reaching, pointing. Let your back arch naturally. And draw the arm down, foot back in, another pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. So remember, at any point through this video, if you want to pause it, revisit any of these exercises you can, and then just press play again when you feel ready to continue, or rewind and do them again. We're going to bring this bendable. If you don't have a ball, you could use a cushion, placing it onto your navel, and this is to release the tissues within your abdomen to come into your connective tissues which surround all of our organs and all of our muscles, and actually are part of all of it all. So take a nice deep in breath, hands interlinked. As you breathe out, put it into your navel and massage. This is about self myofascial release. That's connective tissue being moved about. We're bringing fluid with this compression, allowing the fluid to move in between the tissues, helping with movements, digestion, helping with movements of fluid and food within the body. Releasing it. Keeping it over the navel, and again, take that deep in breath. As you breathe out, put it into your navel and pull it up towards the sternum, coming into the stomach and spleen, the gallbladder area. And again, massage into it, just as firmly as you wish. Gentle or hard, your choice. We'll see how it feels. And release. And we're going to roll that down above the pubic bone. Take that deep in breath. And as you breathe out, pull it into your lower abdomen. We're coming into the bladder, the small intestines, the large intestines. We're massaging all the way to the back of the spine, into the colon. All these areas that have fluid and food movement. We're trying to release, we're trying to let all of that just flow freely. And release the ball. From here, we're going to do some hip releasing. So if you haven't got a resistance band, don't worry, just perhaps use a belt of some sort that you have in the house. Whatever you have is fine. So belly's pulled in, we're still in this half supine position. You're going to draw your foot towards you, place the band underneath the right foot. Relax your shoulders, relax your arms, take the band or the strap or the belt into your right leg. Belly's contracted. So we're going to start this rotation through your ball and socket joint. That's whole rotation. This is where you want to find your range of motion. And it might feel different on either side, so be aware of that. But it's like a corkscrew. We're going to start small. We're going to start slightly bent leg, and then gradually we're going to increase it. Keep that tension in the strap, the resistance band, whatever you have. And control that movement slow and smooth, gradually increasing your range of motion. Circling around one way. How does it feel in the hip? Can you feel those cracks and pops? By movement through the joint, we're bringing synovial fluid into the joint to help with your range of motion. So again, don't be worried if your range of motion isn't as large as this. It's about what you're able to do within your own session today. And we're going to start to circle around the other way. How does it feel this way? And again, remember, it's not about the knee joint or the ankle, it's all about this hip joint. Trying to release into that hip joint. Open up that movement so we can walk better. We can do our exercises later on with more finesse. So take your time, feeling that movement. Eventually you're going to come up to the ceiling. We're going to do inner-outer thigh release. Important here to keep our ribs and our hips facing up to the ceiling, our belly contracted, chin tucked in. And all you're going to do is open the leg out to the side, but try not to roll. Try to keep your body stable. It's this inner thigh release. And then you bring it up, and if you haven't had any hip replacements, then you can take it across, still keeping hip and shoulders and ribs facing up. Outer thigh release, right down the IT band and the side of the shin. If you have had a hip replacement, then you would just keep it up to the midsection of the body, just up to the ceiling and not come across. So again, be aware, have that knowledge for yourself. Still concentrating on keeping the hips and the ribs facing up, barely pulling in. See how it feels. From here, we're going to do a hamstring release. So we're going to take the strap or band into your both hands. Chin tucked in, and as you breathe out, draw your arms above your head, keeping that leg as straight as you feel able. Feeling the release down the back of the leg, back of the knee, back of the calf. Pausing. And then keeping your arms wide, you're going to let the foot draw all the way down. As it comes down to about knee level, tuck your chin in, look in between your legs and do a little bit more of upper core work. And release again, taking your time, head floating back down. And releasing again into that hamstring. Again, if you need a slight bend, absolutely fine. You may want to rebound into shoulders, releasing those shoulders. And again, slowly draw it down. Keep your arms wide. Chin starts to tuck in. Look in between the legs. Last one. Give yourself permission to stay as long as you wish. If you're developing this stretch, it's 15 to 30 seconds. If it's just that quick movement, then don't stay as long. You can stay anything up to 8 seconds. And release. And we're going to switch legs. Doing the same on the other side. Whenever you do one side, make sure you do the other side. So we bring the band into the right hand. Relax your shoulders, chin tucked in, belly pulled in. Start that corkscrew action into your left hip joint. Remember, it's the ball and socket joint. It has that motion within your hip, same as the arm socket. So allow that to slowly rotate, creating that bigger range of motion. controlling it with your strength. Keep your belly pulled in, so you're protecting that lumbar spine, gradually extending that leg. How does it feel this side to the opposite side? You will find out for yourself that generally our bodies aren't equal. They're not as balanced, so normally we have one side that is more flexible than another. So with a home practice, you can work slightly longer on the side that isn't as flexible. So doing about 5 rotations each way. Again, noticing how it feels when you're rolling round. Still bringing more synovial fluid into that joint. Giving you back your range of motion. Contracting through the belly. Supporting that lower back, that hip, pelvis area. And eventually drawing that foot back up to the ceiling. We keep our hips, our ribs, shoulders connected to the floor. We do this inner outer thigh. So just releasing the leg out to the left. Contract through the belly. See how it feels on this side. Not rolling to the side. Up and over. Remember, if you've got hip replacements, it just stays up to the ceiling. Otherwise, it can come across. Outer thigh release. Take your time. See how it feels one side to another. Where you can feel it in your hip joint. Maybe down through the IT band, that huge sheath of connective tissue and the outside of our legs. Then we come to the hamstring releases. Nice and wide, slowly release your arms above your head. And again, if you need to have that bend in the leg to help release it, please do so. Otherwise, we're working towards getting the leg as straight as we can. Pausing here. And slowly, slowly draw the arms above you. Foot lowers the floor, chin tucks in. Contraction through the belly. 2 more of those, and again you can release into the shoulders if you want to open up those shoulder joints a little bit. And lower again. And we've got 1 more of those to do. Take your time, feel that tension, releasing down the back of the leg, back of the calf, back of the knee. And last, lowering down. And from here, we're going to take our time, get rid of the strap, rid of your band, whatever you have, and roll over onto your side. We're going to do some oblique work. And the idea of this is to work both sides of our body to strengthen our deeper core muscles. And we're going to do some shoulder releasing. So if you don't have a stimulating prickle ball, you could use a tennis ball, or even just a rolled up towel. That might work. And we're going to place ourselves down to release into this shoulder joint. So make sure your hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked, fingers just in front, and just roll over that joint. And you'll know if that feels comfortable or not. You'll know if it's screaming at you to say, actually, no, my shoulder doesn't like it. The arm position is not great for me. You could move it to find a position for you. But for now, just for this purpose, now I'm just releasing into the shoulder joint. And then you have a choice. When you've done about 5 of those, gradually opening that shoulder joint, you're coming back to a stacked position. And you can either choose to keep that ball there or take it out. And your arm can either be extended with your head relaxed, or we can use our bendable to bring it underneath our head to support our head, or even your arm can be bent. Again, take a choice where you feel comfortable. What is important is the shoulders stacked, hips stacked, knees are bent, and feet are flexed, which means you bring your toes to your shins, pull that belly in. And from here, you're just going to do a clam movement, so strengthening into our hip joints. So lifting that top knee out, try not to roll back or forward.
keeping yourself stacked and closing. Nice gentle movement. For those perhaps a bit more advanced, if you've got your resistance band, you can wrap that around to add the resistance, to add more tension. So where we're working, if you put your hands on your obliques, you will feel them, those oblique muscles, working hard. Your hip joint is moving. The muscles around your hip joint are strengthening to support that. But again, we're getting that inner outer thigh movement, trying to create that tension there, working at strengthening. Take another few. We do about up to 8 here. Again, overloading the muscle. Of course, if you're at home, you can do more if you wish. And then we're going to do the opposite. So clamp your knees together and then lift that top heel out. Again, not trying to rock forward, just connecting through this belly and hip joints, working. You'll feel it lower down into your glute now, working hard to strengthen all the way down through the hip. So again, about 8 of those. Take your time. Feel that connection. Hip flexor, that postural muscle is working hard as well. Might feel a bit odd. Not a normal movement to do, but it is a good one to strengthen. Keep breathing. Keep strengthening the muscles. So body restoring back to your best range of motion, back to the strength within your legs. Once you've finished 8, you're going to extend that leg out. What's important here is to have a long line from your ankle to your knee to your hip to your shoulder, all in that one long line. Foot is slightly off the floor and toes are flexed, belly pulled in. And then you're going to lift about 45-degree angle and lower. Breathing out. And again, working deep into these deep oblique, abdominal muscles, nicely pulled in here. Again, doing about 8. Overloading it. We will work to one hip and then we'll work the other side. And from after this, then we'll do some nice twisting and hip releasing. So take your time, just breathing out. Bringing those toes to your shin. Working that hip joint, working the side muscles. Once you've finished about 8, keep the foot up. Small little circles. 8 one way, 8 the other. And I didn't do 8 there, as you can see, but hey, I will continue to do 8 and then do it the rest the other way. So do 8 one way and 8 the other. And again, you will start to feel it deep, deep into this hip muscles. You're going to feel that. And to release it, all you need to do is bring the knee across and stimulate. Bring that stimulation, blood flow, blood circulation, get rid of the toxins that you created. And then we do the same on the other side. So just rolling over, giving yourself that chance to come onto the other side. Ball underneath your armpit to release that shoulder joint. Extending the arm. Remember, the position of the head can be in a comfortable position with the ball or not. Hip stack, shoulder stack, feet flex, toes bent, and then hands in front. Just roll over that ball. Start to release into this joint. See how it feels on this side. We're opening that joint, again creating more fluid, synovial fluid to come into it. Creating a bigger range of motion within that joint, about 5 of those. And again, deciding either to keep the ball there or taking it out. For me, I prefer to take it out. Shoulder stacked, hip stacked. Remember we did that half a clam, so lifting that top leg out. Again, not rolling back or forward. Keep that connection of the hips and shoulders, one on top of another. Barely pulled in. Feet together. Working this hip joint outside of the leg. 8 of these. How does it feel this side? Remember to always have that knowledge about your body. Connect with your body. Understand how one side is to the other. And how you can work at strengthening one side more if you need to, or becoming more flexible on one side. When you've done 8, clamp the knees together and lift that top heel, pushing the heel away, toes are flexed. Try not to rock forward, still that contraction through that navel. Still keeping the hips stacked, shoulders stacked, allowing that hip joint to strengthen all the tendons and muscles around it, strengthening to protect it. It's really important as you get older to strengthen these muscles to stop the slips and falls that sometimes occur as you get older. So take your time. Last one here. And then we extend that leg along, straight and long, heel pushing away in line with the knee, the hip, the shoulder. And then lift and lower, that 45-degree angle, pushing the heel away. Bottom foot is still contracted as well. You're working hard, trying to keep that nice long line within your body. Keep that breathing out. We've got a couple more to do. And then we come into the final parts, which is those small little circles, that creating that tension within the hip joint. Circling one way for 8 times. And then circling the other way 8 times. Not a big motion, but you are working hard at strengthening here. And then we're coming into the releasing part. Take your time. And release the leg across. Remember, stimulation brings in that fluid, drains the lymphs, helps get rid of the toxins. And finally, to end the 360 degree of our core work, we're going to come onto our belly to do some back strengthening before we finish off with our twisting. So take your time. If you have glasses on, now's the time to remove them. Make sure you're on your mat, hands either side of your head and your forehead to floor. Relax your shoulders down. Have the chance to have a nice long neck. Really important to keep the length in the neck. From here, we're going to engage our hip muscles and groin. We're going to press our groin and hips into the floor. You're going to engage these thigh muscles and lift the knees off of the floor, pressing to the top of the feet. So we're doing a baby cobra to strengthen these back muscles and get that curl back into the spine. So without pressing into the hands, as you breathe out, lift your head and shoulders and lower back down. And again, keep a nice long neck, keep the hips connected, keep the thigh muscles engaged, pressing into the top of the feet. Feet are about hip width apart. And you only come up to your level. And I've got one more to do. That back extension. Strengthening the back muscles. The core muscles are working hard. From here, relax your head on the floor. And we're going to do this lumbar back here. So pressing into the foot that stays on the floor, lift one foot. Keep the hip connected into the floor here. Extend the foot to pull the toes to the shin, point and lower. Keep that leg contracted. Lift the other foot up. Flex the toes, point and lower. And alternate. So you do 5 on each leg. Breathing. Still connecting into the hips to the floor. Still not keeping a nice long neck. The leg that stays on the floor is still contracted. It's still working hard. The knees are off the floor. It's not a big motion. One more to do either side. And from here, keeping your legs contracted, hips connected, we lift our head and hands and shoulders. Squeeze the elbows down, the shoulder blades down towards the bottom and release.
Nice long leg, lifting up, squeezing down. 3 more. Still that baby cobra, just more core work, back work, strengthening. Last one. And from here, relax your feet, hands to waist. Squeeze the elbows in, shoulders down, and press up to tabletop. And from here, we're going to come into a wide leg child's pose. So knees wide, toes together, sink your bottom towards your heels. Releasing that lower back. Gradually walking your hands and releasing your shoulders. Take your time to slowly come into this. You've given yourself room to breathe. Your neck is loose, nice and released. So all the way from the tailbone, all the way up to the neck, the shoulders are releasing here. You're giving yourself this beautiful stretch. And breathing. So come back up, tabletop. Do a few twists here. We're going to come into our thread the needle. So make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. Pull your belly in. From here, you're going to extend the right arm up, take a twist, look up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, press the hand through middle of the knee and hand and bend the supporting arm, looking underneath your armpit. Take that inhale to lift up, swing open the chest, twist the spine. Exhale, bring the hand towards your knee. Again, look under the supporting arm. And last one on this side, take your time. Opening up, see if you can twist just that little bit more. Hand towards the wrist, push it all the way through and then relax down on the side of the head. And maybe extend that top arm. We pause here to really stretch out that shoulder blade on the right side. Your ribs coming down, taking a gentle twist through the thoracic and cervical spine. And then hand back, and we repeat that on the other side. Those 3 positions, giving yourself that time to gently open up your chest, twisting through the abdomen, swinging round and underneath. And again. Coming down to the knee. Last one to the wrist. Give yourself the opening of the chest, gradually pushing through as far as you can, coming down on the side of your left shoulder, extend the right arm out. And we pause and see that gradual release through that left shoulder blade, left ribs, side of the neck. Bring the hand back up, and we're going to swing the legs round. To come into that half supine position. Final part of our release today will be our twists. So we're going to come down, controlled. Feet to floor, chin tucked in, you're going to roll down, taking your time to come all the way to the floor. Having the balls either side, could be tennis balls, remember, or it can be done without any props. Chin tucked in, ankles underneath, knees again, you're doing your pelvic curl to pelvic bridge. So slowly peel up, press through the inner thighs, place the balls either side of the lumbar spine, that sacrum. Coming back onto them and just roll the hips from either side. This is your myofascial release. It is your massage. It's finding those trigger points within your body. And throughout this exercise now, you can move these balls about anywhere, as long as they're not on the spine itself. Just massage, finding those points of tension. We hold a lot of it, particularly in our buttocks, in our lower back. So do ensure you move them about as much as you need to. Your arms are going to come wide, shoulders down, belly tucked in, knees and feet together, and chin tucked in. So take that nice in breath, contract through the belly, As you exhale, roll down to one side. You're going to roll over that ball, and it's a bit like Marmite. It can be quite sore at times, but as long as there's no sharp shooting pains, you're twisting over, releasing down the side of the body, twisting into the spine. You're going to inhale, pull your belly in, squeeze the knees together, lift up. And exhale to rotate down the other side. And again, you might not get all the way down, don't worry. It's just going down to a level that feels comfortable for you, to feel that gentle twist within the spine. You're inhaling up. You're going to take your time to slowly move about one side to another. Keep moving your balls, finding those tension points. And if you do find a spot that's really quite that pain, that's the nice pain, that tension there, you can rock over it a couple of times just to massage into it, releasing gently, and turn your head the opposite way to your knees. Let that full rotation come into effect through the spine. Head comes up, belly contracts, knees squeeze together. And again, we'll roll over to the other side. Take your time. See how it feels. You can stay as long as you want in each position. The longer you stay, the more the tissues release. But we're moving here, so we're adding compression through these stimulating prickle balls. We're adding that compression to aid in bringing fluids in between the tissues to release and help the tissues glide a bit better one over another. Keep going, just one side to another. You can start to move them wider. As you twist over, you might get into the hips, hip joints here a little bit more, and might get into those muscles we were working earlier. You can lift the opposite arm above your head, palm facing up, feeling that release all the way down, right to the knee. Fingers are reaching and coming back, head up, belly in, squeeze up. Come the other side. And you'll feel difference from one side to another. Again, taking your time to release, let the tissues release out. And that compression underneath. Keep moving them as you need to, or just do a twist. You can bring that top leg into play, just extending it, and there is a pendulum motion that you can add in to release down that hip flexor and across, to release down the back of the spine, lumbar spine to hip flexor. And you might feel that your skin is quite tight at some points. And the more you move it, the more fluid's going to come into your body. In between those tissues, the less tight it's going to feel, and the bigger range of motion you're going to get. So with movement comes more fluid, becomes more of a range of motion. So just move it as you feel comfortable to do so. Eventually rolling back up, coming to the other side. And again, through a home practice, you could take as many of these as you want, spending your time in each one to feel that release. Again, seeing one side to another, where is the tightness, where is that tension, where are you feeling that? Really connect to your body, give yourself this chance to release your body in a way that is important for you. Everybody has different issues, and that's what we're working with to help you release at home. But remember, please do come to class. Have the assistance of our knowledge and our expertise in this to help you to make sure you do it safely and with guidance, slowly coming back up. And again, you can continue that as long as you want. But for now, we're going to finish off with a slow release down our spine, and use both of these here, or tennis balls if you want. So I'm going to start at the top of the head, right above the hairline, not in the hairline at all. And if you've got slippy hair, you might just want to hold on to them with your fingers. So your chin is tucked down at the moment, so gently lift your chin up to the ceiling, nod your head up and down, stimulating into the cranium, into pressure points, into your lymph glands, side to side, and self-myofascial releasing in, small little circles, both ways, and then a figure of 8, both ways. Again, stimulation, bringing that gentle pressure through the cranium, through the muscles, through the tissues. And then bring the ball into that hairline. You have a knobbly bit of bone at the back of your head, so either side of that. Fingers just gently holding onto the balls if you need to. I've got slippy hair, so I always need to. And again, that nodding up and down, that tension through the skin, the tissues, side to side movement. That circling motion, both ways, 2 or 3 times, each way, figure of 8. Great for people who've got headaches. You can roll your head from side to side to get to ear, that gentle rotation of the neck, and eventually bring it down into the nape of the neck. So this is where we try and counteract what's called an iPhone neck. It's where we're always looking down. So take your time, let your chin extend up. Where we're always looking down, these muscles get shortened, so it's great to extend them out. And just allow your head to roll to one side. Take your time. When you get to your maximum rotation of the head, you can add the back of the hand, just adding a gentle weight, finding a little bit more opening of the neck joint, taking the hand away, slowly rolling back up to center and doing the same. The other side, taking your time, pausing in between, letting your head roll to one side, and you'll get to a point you can't go any further. That's when to add the weight of your hand, not pulling, just adding the weight of the hand to allow that neck to release just that little bit more. Again, always being sure that there's no sharp shooting pains. Releasing, coming back up. And then we've got different points to come to through the back. You've got large muscles at the top of the shoulders here, so we're going to add in a massage effect here. Either side of the spine, just finding that point. And if you don't like your head being extended back, you can always put something underneath your head. And then you're going to add some movement. You can either just lay still, or with movement comes fluid. So whatever movements you wish to do to add that massaging type of feeling into the muscles, into the tissues. Whatever feels good, it's knowing where those trigger points are. That's what we're trying to find and releasing into the muscles. And again, at a home practice, staying as long as you wish. But for now, we'll move on. So now we bring the balls to outside of our shoulder blades. We're coming in to large muscles that roll from our triceps coming down our back. We're going to open out. And this comes starting, we're working with our hip girdle muscle from our triceps right down to the opposite hamstring. Nice sheath of muscles that go all the way down. So again, that rotation, movement of anything that you want to do to massage. You might feel that your chest is concave here. So you're opening up the back of the spine, letting the shoulders release. Taking your time, whatever you want to do. And then quite difficult sometimes to get into the next position, but what we want to do is bring those balls either side, inside the shoulder blades, so sometimes easier to come up. And this is into your rhomboids now. It's a beautiful chest expansion and allows the back to fully arch. And again, you can do whatever movements you want to here. And you can take your time to come either side of the spine all the way down. Beautiful, release through the belly, the chest, shoulders are opening fully. Pectoral muscles are releasing, front of the chest. Neck is releasing as well. So again, you can do little pelvic curls here just to massage into it. And then gradually bring them down into soft part, in between your ribs and your hips. On either side of the spine, this will come into your kidney region. So if you've had any kidney issues lately, this might not be for you. If it's painful, just move straight on down.
And again, you can rock your knees side to side. You can do those pelvic curls. Again, spend as long as you want. Gradually we're coming down to where we started, either side of that sacrum, fused part of your spine. And just roll your hips from side to side, massaging. You can take them lower to find those deeper muscles that connect your pelvis to your legs and the back to your legs. So rocking your knees, finding those points of tension and spending a lot again as long as you want on each. But for now, we're going to whip those out. We're going to take our time to roll over onto our side and lift up. And for now, thank you for joining me for a trigger point class today. As you can see, you either need some instruments or you can do the whole thing without. The idea is try and releasing your body, getting the core strength back to promote a great posture. And for now, thank you for joining us. Hope to see you in class soon.